The day I found out I was accidentally pregnant, I overheard his twin brother say, "Bro, I've been pretending to be you and playing with your little canary for so long. You think he'll run away when he finds out?" Robert replied casually, "Why would he? He can't bear to leave me. Besides, it's not the first time we've switched places. Just don't let him get pregnant. I find that disgusting." On the screen before me, the bullet comment scrolled, LMAO. The side character got pregnant and still looked so happy, not knowing Robert never even touched him. It was his twin brother who played with him until he got knocked up. Robert only cares about his childhood white moonlight. Even if the side character is pregnant with his child, he'll throw both the baby and the guy out. I didn't cry or scream. I continued playing the obedient canary for the fake Robert. Secretly, I booked an appointment for an abortion and bought a plane ticket to leave the country. The day they caught me trying to get the procedure, Robert went mad. He grabbed his brother by the throat. "Who gave you permission to touch him?" The day I found out I was pregnant, it was pouring rain. I went to the club Robert often visited. By the time I arrived, I was soaked to the skin. Just as I reached for the door, I heard Robert's cold voice from inside. "Had your fun? When are you switching back?" Garrett Craig, his twin, replied, "Nope. I'm not done playing yet." He chuckled. "He's intersex makes things even more fun." Robert frowned. "You didn't touch him, right? You know our rules." Garrett paused for a brief second, then smirked. "What's the big deal?" "I didn't." He lifted his wine glass. "But even if I did, you wouldn't mind, would you?" Robert hesitated, his expression a little off. "Of course not, just that it's filthy." The room erupted in jeers. "Little young Master Craig, you're even playing with your brother's leftovers. Please, who can blame him? With that face of Tam's, who wouldn't want a piece? And he's intersex smoother skinned than any woman, and usable from both ends. That must be fun. Only young Master Craig stays away from men. He never touched him." A man beside Robert chuckled. "Why does Tam feel like a public toilet? Anyone can take a turn." I recognized that Manny Lonbaum, the crown prince of the capital's elite circle, Robert's childhood sweetheart, the one he had always protected like a treasure. Someone asked, "Whose brilliant idea was this? Such a wild game." Elon raised his eyebrows. "They're all idiots." "Obviously, it was mine." Tam would never dream that Robert had a twin brother. "Shouldn't he be thanking me? If it weren't for me, none of you would have had this much fun." Robert smiled indulgently. Right. You're the smartest." Another asked, "I heard you're getting married to Tam in 7 days. Is that true?" Robert gave a lazy smile. "Of course not. He's been by my side so long he started wanting a title. I just let him believe it for a bit." Elon suddenly sat upright, mischief flashing in his eyes. "Then wait till the wedding day. That's when you all tell him the truth that you've been taking turns with him for an entire year. I want to see his reaction right at the edge of happiness, then push him into despair. Isn't that the best part?" Robert laughed helplessly. "You're too childish." Elon pouted. "Childish or not, haven't you always given me whatever I wanted? Still, you all better be careful. His body may be interesting, but if he really ends up pregnant, he won't be easy to get rid of. Heard those from the slums are tenacious." Robert frowned. "Don't joke like that. We've never touched him." Elon tilted his head. "Then what if he really is pregnant?" Robert chuckled without a care. "Then let him scram." "Right, Hwaijin." Garrett, who had been zoning out, snapped back when he heard Robert calling him. "Yeah." The bullet comments flashed again. "Lol." Garrett still insists he didn't touch him, when he's already been screwing him behind his brother's back. The side character is pregnant and still clueless. He thinks Robert loves him, when it was Garrett who got him pregnant. Robert only has eyes for Elon. Even if the child is his, he'll make both mother and child disappear. This is the real favored by all drama. Robert staying pure for Elon. Garrett using the side character as a training dummy. Chef's kiss. I stared at the medical report in my hand. It read, "Pregnant." I had rushed through the rain, hoping to tell Robert right away that I was really, truly pregnant. Now, it seemed, there was no need. That very afternoon, I scheduled the abortion and booked a flight for 7 days later, the same day as the so-called wedding. In the meantime, I could still get a bit of allowance from my sponsor. If they wanted to humiliate me at the wedding by revealing the truth, why shouldn't I escape early and turn their grand performance into a complete joke? After all, I'd saved quite a bit over the years as his full-time canary. Especially recently, I'd noticed my savings had grown twice as fast. I'd wondered why Robert kept forgetting he already sent me money, transferring it over and over again. Now I knew. Robert transferred it once, and his brother Garrett sent it again. I gently touched my growing golden nest egg. It all started back in college when I got involved with Robert. Elon had been my college roommate. He loved playing cruel pranks that ruined people's futures. In high school, he once got his rich kid friend to pursue a normal boy with an onslaught of roses and luxury gifts. That boy, once straight, was eventually bent by sweet words and illusions. Right before the college entrance exams, Alon ordered his friend to break up with him. The boy, devastated, flunked his exams and later attempted suicide. He survived, but as a vegetable. Meanwhile, Alon happily got into university and became my roommate. He took an interest in me, a broken school prince juggling 3 jobs. Why 3 jobs a day? Because I had a gambling father, a dead mother, and a sick grandma. This time, I became his new game. And Robert, he was the male lead Alon had handpicked for me. Robert was the math genius of King University, the kind of campus heartthrob whose candid photo could break 1 billion views online. He was also the heir of the Craig Corporation, with a future as dazzling as it was limitless. It was Alon who asked Robert to pursue me, to make me his boyfriend. According to Ellen's script, Robert would drown me in luxury and affection, spoil me rotten, and then once I was addicted to it all, dump me cruelly, sending me crashing from heaven to hell. And Robert did treat me well. He showered me with gifts, expressed sympathy for my background, forbade me from working, and came up with surprises every single day. But I was a hoarder. For every penny Robert gave me, I saved it. He gifted me a Rolex, I didn't wear it. I sold it online at a high price. I'd grown up poor. My sense of worth was fragile. Money, the more I hoarded, the safer I felt. And I wasn't stupid. I could sense it, Robert was acting. Every time he held my hand, I caught that fleeting trace of mockery in his eyes. I didn't know why he'd confess to me if he didn't like me, but he certainly fit the dumb but rich label. So, I saved as much as I could. After all, this opportunity wouldn't come again. We acted like any normal couple, dating, hugging, kissing. In the winter, I even hand-wear upon him a scarf as a gift. The day my grandma's illness worsened, I did something I'd never done before. I asked Robert for an expensive birthday present. I remember he froze for a second, then smiled. I'll never forget the flicker in his eyes, pure ecstasy, laced with sadistic delight, like a venomous snake finally flicking out its tongue. They must have thought I was finally spoiled and ruined just as planned. The next day, Robert was the one who brought up the breakup. Alon waited eagerly to see me crumble, crying, begging, clinging to Robert like a fool, unable to accept a return to poverty. But to his surprise, I didn't fall apart. I went back to my routine, work when I needed to, school when I had to. Life became ordinary again. I only freed myself slightly, cut my 3 part-time jobs down to 2. Sometimes I could afford a little sausage and an egg in my instant noodles, maybe even a cup of fortified milk after dinner. I even gained 3 pounds. I didn't beg for a reconciliation. I didn't cry or fight. I even deleted all of Robert's contact info right after the breakup. None of this was what Alon had envisioned. He threw a tantrum, frustrated that the game had turned boring. From then on, he targeted me in our dorm. Sometimes it was nails in my shoes. Sometimes cold water splashed on my quilt in the dead of winter. Later, my dad got into debt, gambling huge sums owed to the Craig family. To pay it off, he offered me up as repayment. And just like that, I ended up as Robert's canary. Ironically, I had actually started considering building a real life with him lately. Robert was always cold and aloof, he'd never touch me. But something changed earlier this year. He suddenly became willing to kiss me. That night, he came home drunk. I helped him to the sofa and made him some hangover tea. Then, out of nowhere, he wrapped his arms around my waist, pulled me into his embrace, and softly kissed my lips. I rarely kissed anyone. I nearly passed out from lack of air. He chuckled. So this is what you taste like, sweet? Next time we kiss, remember to breathe. That night, he took my first time. After that, he started experimenting with more and more exciting ways to be intimate. He didn't like protection. He enjoyed messing with me while the butler and maids were around, forcing me to bite my lip and hold back the sounds. The more I endured, the more he seemed entertained. He had a strange kink during sex. He liked to make me say his name. Try again. What's wrong, Robert? The more I called him that, the rougher he became, as if suppressing something feral in his eyes. He was like a stray dog needing to be petted in just the right way. And yet, he could be so tender. He loved to kiss me, knew I had a bad stomach, and made porridge to warm me up. He once set off an entire night of fireworks across the city for my birthday. As the dazzling burst lit up the sky, he stroked my hair and whispered, "Baby, let's live a good life together." When I had nightmares, he would wake me gently, cradle me in his arms, and say, "Sweetheart, don't be scared." Slowly, I began to feel like maybe I liked him a little too. A few months ago, again, he pressed me into the bed and refused to use protection. I asked, What if I get pregnant? He kissed me. Then we'll have it. I'll take care of everything. It was he who brought up marriage. That night, after everything ended, he lay on top of me and said, "Baby, let's stop being lovers. Let's be partners." Now that I think about it, from the very first time we slept together, that man probably wasn't Robert. It was Garrett. And the proposal, just the beginning of another cruel prank. I had really thought about keeping the baby. But now, it seems there's no need. There are 5 days left until I leave the country. By now, I can easily tell the difference between the Craig twins. Robert is cold and brooding, never smiles, a workaholic. Garrett loves to flirt. He's got a small mole on his lower abs, visible every time he takes off his clothes. I don't know if Robert has that mole. He's never touched me. This morning, as I went downstairs, Robert was already seated there, reading a newspaper with his gold-rimmed glasses. "Tim, dress nicely today. We have guests coming." The one who reads the paper early, wears gold-rimmed glasses and speaks with that icy tone. That's the real Robert. The bullet comments were buzzing with excitement. Hehe, today's the day Garrett officially meets him face to face. The side character's been wrecked by Garrett. He knows every sensitive spot, but he still has to pretend they've never met. Must be suffocating. People from the slums are like that. They'll endure anything for money. Ellen's different. He's never had to rely on anyone. Today's meeting is just a setup for publicly humiliating the side character on his birthday. I can't wait. Elon is such a devious little gremlin. I love him. I went upstairs to change. Staring at my reflection in the mirror, I curled my lips into a smile. Yeah, looking good. At noon, Garrett arrived with Elon. Seeing someone who looked exactly like Robert, I feigned surprise, putting on just the right amount of shock in my expression. Robert introduced us. "This is my twin brother. He just got back from an overseas business trip." Garrett reached out to shake my hand. "Nice to meet you." I took his hand as well. "Nice to meet you." I smiled lightly. "Wow. I didn't expect you to look so identical." Garrett's expression didn't falter. His smile remained warm and harmless. "There's a lot you still don't know." Sometimes, I genuinely had to admire Garrett. After sleeping with me who knows how many times, he could still pretend we were strangers. Elon chuckled. "No need for an introduction here. Tam and I were college roommates." He came over and took my arm. "Heard you're getting married soon. Robert and I already discussed it. I'm going to be your best man." Before his words even faded, the chef came to tell us that the meal was ready. At the dining table, Elon sat between Robert and Garrett. Resting his chin on his hand, he grinned at me and asked, "Tam, have you noticed Robert acting a little differently lately?" I knew why he was asking that. He just wanted to see me make a fool of myself. Fine, then I'd play along. I set down my chopsticks and nodded. He has changed a lot this past year. In that moment, it was like the world paused. Everyone froze, especially the Craig brothers. Their expressions turned rigid. Then I let out a soft laugh and blushed. He's been treating me better than ever, I think. I'm falling for him. Robert glanced at Garrett, looking visibly displeased. During the meal, Garrett casually peeled a shrimp and dropped it into my bowl. He said affectionately, "Sweetheart, your favorite garlic shrimp, no shells." The next second, silence fell over the table. He suddenly realized what he'd done too, but stayed calm as ever. "My brother likes to call you that." It slipped out. I nodded. "You're really quite sweet." Robert shot Garrett a sharp warning glare. I ignored them both and popped the shrimp into my mouth. Chew, chew, chew. Then I frowned. Oh. It tasted fishy and nausea surged up. Covering my mouth, I bolted to the bathroom. After I'd thrown up, Elon gave me a knowing look. Could it be morning sickness? Both Robert and Garrett turned to look at me. I replied, "Nope. I just ate something bad." "What?" "I can't throw up now. Throwing up helps with weight loss." Robert set down his chopsticks, forcing a smile. "If you lose any more weight, your bones will start poking me." After the meal, Robert and Garrett took Elon home and didn't return until late. When they got back, whoever it was went straight into the shower. I couldn't quite tell whether the one showering was Robert or Garrett. Then I spotted the foam left on the nightstand. Without hesitation, I picked it up. The bullet comments lit up in my mind. What's the side character trying to do? Snooping through the sugar daddy's phone? Is he tired of living? Relax. There's a password. It's Ellen's birthday. This idiot will never guess it. Oh. Thank you. We were roommates once. Elon always made a big fuss about his birthdays. It would have been hard not to remember. I quickly entered Ellen's birthday. The phone unlocked. I opened WeChat and scrolled to the chat between Robert and Garrett. Robert, switch back with me in a few days. Garrett, no. I'm not done playing. Robert, he said you've been really good to him this past year. Don't tell me you've caught feelings. Garrett didn't reply for a long time, then finally said, Of course not. Didn't you say the better we treat him, the harder the fall when the dream shatters? I've been with him most of the year. There are only a few days left. I don't want to raise suspicion. Robert, got it. You really haven't touched him? Garrett, I haven't. Why? Do you care? Robert, no. I just don't want my toy being dirtied. I'm warning you, play all you want, but don't cross the line. That's the rule. So the one who came home tonight was Garrett. 10 minutes later, Garrett stepped out of the shower. I was playing Candy Crush, acting like nothing had happened. He gently took my wrist and said with a teasing undertone, Your nails are getting long again. Want me to trim them for you? Don't want you scratching up my back too badly. I replied, Then go ahead and call the cops. Garrett blinked, then let out a low laugh. Baby, why are you so cute? He cupped my face gently, leaned in, and kissed me. His hand slipped under my shirt. I quickly pushed him away. My stomach hurts today. His brows furrowed. Stomachache, is it your ulcer again? I shook my head. No. His hand moved down to rest on my belly. Let me rub it for you. I pushed his hand away. Don't bother. His hand stiffened midair. After a long pause, he scoffed coldly. Fine. Suffer then. I won't care anymore. We didn't speak for a long while after that. That night, the pain in my belly wouldn't stop. I tossed and turned, curled up into a tight ball. Sometime in the middle of the night, Garrett sighed softly. He pulled me into his arms, gently patting my back, his voice hoarse and drowsy. Sweetheart, don't hurt anymore, okay? It's all right. It's all right. When I was little, my mom used to pat my back just like that. That memory had long since faded into something dreamlike. But coming from Garrett, the gesture felt painfully ironic. In the morning, I woke up in a haze. Garrett was already awake. He stood by the bed, flipping through my phone. His expression was grim. When he saw me open my eyes, he smiled coldly, more like a ghost than a man. Baby, be honest with me. Are you hiding something from me? I yawned lazily. What could I possibly hide from you? His face darkened. He gave a chilling grin. Not talking. Fine, then tell me this. He shoved the phone in front of my face, nearly pressing it to my nose. Why did the abortion clinic send you pre-surgery instructions? His voice dropped to a glacial whisper. Baby, why don't I know that you're pregnant? At that moment, my whole body stiffened. I could feel my temples pulsing, but I quickly regained my composure. Oh, relax. Probably just from visiting some random website. Must have clicked on an ad by mistake. If I were really pregnant, I'd definitely tell you, then use it to keep you wrapped around my little finger. Garrett raised an eyebrow. You visit those kinds of websites? I nodded. The more you learn, the better, right? He lifted my chin. And everything I teach you every day still not enough. Aren't you afraid I'll go insane if you pick up any more tricks? He pulled me into his arms and whispered against my ear. Come on, tell me. What exactly have you been learning? I shrugged. I don't remember. Didn't retain much. He suddenly burst into laughter. You're so dumb. Guess I'll have to teach you everything myself. Then he looked at me seriously. Tam, and for days we'll be married. On our wedding day, I promise I'll make you the happiest person in the world. Okay. I didn't answer. Because we weren't getting married. There would be no future. Robert and Garrett were busy preparing for the wedding, while I was busy packing my luggage and transferring every penny I had scraped together. From the Craig family. Overseas, I had a close friend named David. He had already booked me a hospital bed for the abortion and even found me an apartment, complete with a balcony and floor-to-ceiling windows, just the way I liked it. My living expenses had also arrived, to payments one from each brother. How considerate. That afternoon, Garrett took me to try on the wedding suit. He poked my belly. Little tummy's kinda round lately. Been eating something good? I clutched my stomach. Mind your own business. He laughed. We're getting married soon, and look at your attitude already. Then he lifted my hand and slid a ring onto my finger. A diamond so big it looked like a whole pigeon egg. He hugged me tightly. This is perfect. Soon, you'll finally belong to me. I let him hold me, and softly responded, The bullet comments weren't having it. I can't with this shameless man. Does he seriously think someone like Tam is actually going to marry him? If he had an ounce of dignity, he'd have run the moment he overheard what they said. Definitely a gold digger. Exactly. In this novel, the side character is a gold digger. To rich and good-looking men, of course, he won't leave. If he's smart, he'd take the money and run. Otherwise, Ellen's going to ruin him at the wedding. I didn't bother arguing with the comments. I just quietly wondered how much this ring would sell for. With 2 days left until my flight, I splurged for once and went to a bar. Ordered a few handsome male dancers to perform for me. If they could fool around, so could I. One drinking, and I started coughing and choking. That's when we all heard a drunken voice break the mood. Elon was slouched at a bar nearby, completely wasted. His tongue was thick as he slurred. After we humiliate him at the wedding, just kick him out already. It's annoying, seeing him squeeze between you guys every day. For the first time, Robert didn't immediately agree. Instead, he paused, then said quietly, "Let's talk about it after the wedding." Elon blinked in surprise, then turned to Garrett. "Huaijin, what about you?" Garrett looked away. "He clings to me now. I mean my brother so much. If we just kick him out, I'm afraid he won't handle it." Ellen's expression turned sour. "You guys aren't going soft, are you? Back in college, you two were the ones who signed off on the prank plan. It failed the first time, remember? Tam didn't go crazy after the breakup, didn't fall apart, so you both were upset, and said you wanted to get him again. Now that we finally have the perfect setup, we have to crush him into the dirt." The others drinking with them chimed in to smooth things over. "Come on. Elon only cares this much because he values you both. Tam's nothing. Play with him and toss him aside. Can you really bear to break Alan's heart? Remember when we were kids? You even fought to be the one playing his lover in pretend games. He's the one you grew up with. If he asked for stars from the sky, you try to fetch them. This little thing isn't worth refusing. If he's too hard to get rid of, Robert, just throw him a breakup fuck. You've never touched him after all these years, might as well give him that much." The bullet comments were exploding again. What's going on with the Craig twins? Weren't they always obedient to Elon? Don't tell me they've actually caught feelings for the side character. Garrett's been with him so many times, maybe he's developed real feelings? You're all overthinking it. In the novel, when they find out the side character's pregnant, they lock him in a basement and torture him to death. I didn't look at the comments. I held my breath and waited for their answer. After a long silence, I finally heard Robert say quietly, "Yeah, I got it." That moment, my heart skipped a beat. Just as expected. On the day of the wedding, Robert wore a perfectly tailored black suit, handsome and dignified. Garrett, the best man, wore white, dazzling like the moon beside the sun. Elon came dressed in a custom-tailored groomsman outfit more extravagant than my own wedding attire. He looked like a little prince. In his hand was a camcorder, ready to capture every second of my breakdown, a trophy to add to his collection. Every victim of his pranks had been immortalized on video. This time, the plan was to expose the entire farce. How I'd been toyed with by two men, passed back and forth like some kind of joke for an entire year. Elon even had someone start a live stream. The viewers had no idea what was happening. They just saw it was a wedding and flooded in with their blessings. Elon smiled sweetly at the camera. No, I'm not the groom today. Just his childhood bestie. He's always treasured me ever since we were kids. Of course, I'm going to be his best man, really? I'm not that good looking. You guys keep flattering me. What if the groom's partner gets jealous? He's actually super petty. But don't worry, I've prepared a big surprise for him today. Hope you all stay tuned. The chat lit up with people speculating about the bride or groom. But when noon struck, the guests were all seated, and the other groom still hadn't arrived. Robert's expression darkened. He finally sensed something was wrong. He called me. The screen showed, "You have been blocked." He tried texting me. "Tim, it's our wedding day. Don't pull this kind of stunt today." Just then, there was a collective gasp from the guest. On the massive wedding screen, footage from the club began playing, and Garrett's voice rang out first. "Bro, I've been pretending to be you and playing with your canary for so long. You think he'll run if he finds out?" "Why would he? He's too attached," Robert replied nonchalantly. "Besides, it's not the first time we've switched. Just don't get him pregnant. I find that disgusting. I heard the eldest Craig Young Master is marrying Tam in 7 days. Is that true?" "Of course not. He's been by my side so long he started craving status. I let him believe it just for fun. PFFT. Why does Tam feel like a public toilet? Anyone can take a turn. When the wedding comes, you tell him that this entire year, you've all been taking turns with him. I want to see his face. Right at the edge of happiness, push him into despair. Isn't that more fun?" The wedding venue erupted into chaos. At the end of the video, the screen was filled with a smirking yellow emoji pulling its eyelid down, accompanied by several lines of text. "Game over. Happy now. Oh, and Garrett, I've been meaning to tell you your skills in bed were awful. Not fun at all. Even the 8 male dancers I hired were better. Goodbye forever. I'm done playing with you freaks." The number of viewers in the livestream skyrocketed, and the chat exploded. LMAO. These jerks thought they could prank someone but got played instead. That was disgusting. The best men slapped him, sure, but it was the groom's silence that truly spoke volumes. If Robert didn't agree, none of this could have happened. So, where's the bride now? Did he actually run away? Isn't it obvious? It's halfway through the ceremony, and he hasn't shown up. Haha. They planned to humiliate him at the wedding, and now they're the ones publicly humiliated. Feels good, doesn't it? Ellen's face went pale. He covered it with both hands and screamed hoarsely, "Turn it off. Shut the live stream down now." Meanwhile, I had already stepped off the plane, arms wide open, smiling brightly at the person waiting for me at the airport. David, I'm free. After arriving in France, I moved in with David. He watched the entire wedding livestream and laughed so hard he slapped his thigh. They plotted for a year to fool you, and it turns out you were acting the whole time. Since when did your brain get this sharp? He grinned. Did you hear? The entire Craig family's a mess. Rumor has it, after you left, the Craig brothers went crazy trying to find you. I wasn't surprised. After all, I made sure to humiliate them thoroughly before leaving, especially Garrett. I made sure to emphasize just how bad he was in bed. Truthfully, he wasn't that bad. He was good at it. Every time left me sore and breathless. But if I was going to walk away, I needed to be ruthless too. Biting into an apple, I asked, "Oh right, David, how's the abortion appointment?" David nodded. "Don't worry. Just need a few pre-op tests." "Great. Let's get it over with soon." He took me to the hospital for the necessary exams. I opted for a painless procedure. The week before the operation, David bought me a huge gift set of snacks to cheer me up. "Don't be nervous," he said. Clutching the gift box, I teared up. How could people say life would be the same with anyone? On the day of the procedure, I lay on the hospital bed, fur in my arm, anesthesia taking over my body. Consciousness began to blur, and I gradually lost control of my limbs. I sensed someone approaching. Was it the doctor? The footsteps drew nearer. I struggled to open my eyes. I couldn't see clearly, but a chill crept down my spine. It wasn't the doctor. It was Robert and Garrett and a group of Craig family bodyguards in black suits. One final voice inside my head whispered, "It's over." I tried to move to escape, but my body had already succumbed to the anesthesia. I couldn't move a single muscle. I was a lamb on the altar. In my last flicker of awareness, Robert gently leaned down and carried me out. Garrett stood behind him, fists clenched. When I woke up, I was in a villa I'd never seen before. Robert sat quietly at my bedside. Around his neck was the navy scarf I had wear upon for him years ago. It clashed terribly with his luxurious tailored outfit. When he saw me stir, he looked at me, his voice hoarse. "You're awake. Are you hungry?" I stared at him. "Why are you here?" He sighed and stroked my hair gently. "If I want to find you, I'll always find a way." I instinctively backed away. "Why did you find me?" "To torture me." Seeing my reaction, he froze. His brow furrowed. "Why would you say that? Have I ever treated you violently?" "Then let me go." "Not a chance." He pulled me into his arms. "From now on, I won't let you go anywhere." From that day on, Robert kept me locked up in the villa. I started a hunger strike, no food, no water. When he heard, he sat across from me, bowl in hand. "I know I wronged you," he said. "But don't hurt yourself." I said only one thing. "I want to leave." "Leave? To where?" "To a place where neither of you exist." "Why?" he asked. "I can give you everything. I'll treasure you for the rest of your life." "Or, have you fallen for Garrett?" I looked at him coldly. "What difference does it make? You're both scum. Don't make me choose between a chocolate-flavored piece of shit and a shit-flavored piece of chocolate." He looked genuinely hurt. After a long silence, he finally said, his voice cracking slightly, "Tam, I actually wanted to marry you for real." That day, I warned Garrett not to listen to Alon, not to say anything to you, so you could marry in peace. From now on, I won't let him near you again. I let out a bitter laugh. "Oh, but you didn't seem to mind when you handed me over to your brother's bed." His face went white. "That's not how it was. I never told him to touch you. It was always our rule. Never cross that line." I didn't know he would do that. "I know this is hard. You're upset. Don't worry, I'll get you the best doctor and staff. I won't let you suffer at all. We'll terminate the pregnancy, and Alon won't hurt you again. I've already bankrupted his family. I'll make it up to you. We'll pretend none of this ever happened. Anything you want, I'll give it to you." I suddenly raised my hand and slapped him across the face. "Dream on. You think I'll just forget all of this? That easy?" His head turned from the blow. Wiping the blood from the corner of his lip, he said softly, "Feel better? If not, hit me again." My voice was icy. "Get out." He stood still for a long time, then slowly got to his feet. "I'll come back tomorrow. That night, in my dream, I was curled up under the covers, crying on my dorm room bed. No one knew that on the day Robert and I broke up in college, I cried in secret. I had always been used to hiding my wounds, to shedding silent tears. Did I ever love Robert? I probably did. Otherwise, why did that breakup hurt so badly? Why did I feel so crushed? Why did I spend the whole night blaming myself for asking him for that birthday gift? Even though I'd known all along, he never truly liked me. In my dream, someone gently covered my eyes. He whispered, "Sweetheart, don't cry, don't cry." The next morning, I opened my eyes and saw Garrett. Garrett had broken me out. He was injured, bruises blooming across his neck, bloodshot eyes like he hadn't slept in days. He looked at me, full of guilt. "I'm sorry." But by now, I was numb. I'd heard too many sorries. He looked at me with a pained expression. He didn't hurt you, did he?" I stared at him. "You really think it's not ironic asking me that? Between the two of you taking turns destroying me, what's the difference?" He pressed his lips together. He wanted to ask, "Why didn't you tell me you were pregnant?" But when he opened his mouth, no words came out. Because he knew. They'd both said it themselves, if he's pregnant, kick him out. He didn't have the face to ask now. He clenched his fists tightly. "Tam, you knew from the beginning it was all a game. So every kiss, every hug, every moment you spent with me this year, every time you said you liked me, it was all fake, wasn't it?" I wanted to say, "Yes, you're right. It was all fake." But in the end, I let out a long sigh. "Garrett, I'm not a professional actor. Love isn't something you can fake. That night you kissed me first, I was so happy I couldn't sleep. I thought, maybe you were finally willing to be good to me. So I told myself I'll be even better to you. I really did think about having a child with you and building a quiet life together." His pupils trembled violently. The color drained from his face, inch by inch. I looked him in the eye, my voice calm as if telling someone else's story. "I'll admit it. You gave me a city full of fireworks on my birthday. You woke me up from nightmares, patiently stayed with me until I fell back asleep. No matter how tired you were. You promised me a grand wedding. You said you wanted to have a child with me. Before I overheard what you said at the club that day, I believed you. I had even started to flip through poetry books in secret, wondering what name would suit our child. That day, I ran through the rain to find you, risking everything, because I wanted to tell you I was pregnant. But I'm not cheap. No one with dignity could keep loving someone after hearing they were passed around like a game. I can tell you clearly now. I hate you. Both of you." Tears welled up in his eyes. He raised his hand to touch me but then pulled back hard. His lips were bitten raw. "Please, don't sentence me like this. At least tell me. What can I do? What can I do to make it hurt a little less for you?" Outside, the wind howled, slapping dead leaves against the glass. I looked at the shattered light in his eyes and said softly, "Let me go." He clenched his fist, took a trembling breath, and after a long pause, forced out the words, "Okay, I'll let you go." David had heard about what happened to me at the hospital and was so frightened he nearly flew back to the country. When he finally got to the airport, he found me just sitting there, staring blankly. He ran over, checked every inch of me, and hugged me tight, crying. "They didn't do anything to you, did they?" I patted his head. "Relax. No, they didn't." Tears still streaming down his face, he said, "I thought those psychos wouldn't let you go unless they skinned you alive. They just let you go. I thought for a moment, maybe they wanted to collect some karma points. After that, I never saw the Craig brothers again. I lived with David, laughing and goofing around every day, so happy I forgot what sorrow was." Occasionally, news from back home reached us. After Ellen's family went bankrupt, he tried to cozy up to rich young heirs who used to have a crush on him, hoping to get back to his lavish lifestyle. But all the twisted things he'd done got exposed. His stash of prank trophies went viral. He was even doxxed by angry netizens. The mother of that boy who jumped off a building in high school found him. She didn't say a word. She just threw acid in his face. The Craig family didn't fare much better. The brothers were constantly fighting internally. The company was a mess. Rumor had it Robert still hadn't given up on finding me, but someone had tampered with his car. He got into an accident and was paralyzed from the waist down. Even the bullet comments couldn't believe it. What is going on with this pampered darling novel? It's completely off the rails. Are we even still in China? What happened to Alon? This isn't the bratty little prince I imagined at all. Honestly, I always thought he was messed up. No morals, no boundaries. Treating other people's lives as his playground. He deserved what he got. Don't you think the side character was actually kinda cool? He didn't use the baby to climb up the social ladder. Once he decided to leave, he left. No hesitation. 3 years later, I ran into Garrett again. I was walking a small child, just turned 3, down the street. When he saw the little boy in overalls beside me, his eyes lit up. Tam, is he? I knew what he was about to ask, so I cut him off. He's not yours. I got married. He went quiet for a long time, then finally forced out a few awkward words. Right. That's good. He turned and left in a hurry. I let out a breath of relief. The truth, I never remarried. That day, standing with David outside the abortion clinic, after all the chaos, I just couldn't go through with it. Years passed. The child grew more and more beautiful, and more like Garrett. Garrett wasn't stupid, he knew. He knew that little boy was his. Over the years, he sent money regularly to my bank account, always from an anonymous account. But he never showed up again. One morning at 7 a.m., I yawned under the blankets. My son, backpack slung over his shoulders, patted me on the cheek. Daddy, I'm heading to school. I kissed his face. Baby, bring me to starch sausages after school, okay? Extra cumin. He giggled. Got it, greedy daddy. I used to think love meant surrender, giving, forgiving, forgetting. But now I know love also means walking away when your soul is being broken piece by piece. I don't hate them anymore. Not because they deserve forgiveness, but because I deserve peace. My son smiles like the sun, laughs like freedom. He is not a reminder of pain, but proof that I survived it. And me. I'm not someone's canary in a golden cage anymore. I'm just Tam, free, unafraid, and finally home. Bonus from Garrett's POV. The day I let Tam go, I almost said something. Yes, at the beginning, I did it because Alon told me to. It was just a prank. A game. But Tam was too good. When he cried, he was like a little kitten, no sound at all. And whenever he cried, my chest started to ache and sink with his sobs. Before I knew it, I had started to fall for him. At first, it was sweet, but slowly, he began to fear what would happen if Tam ever found out the truth. He had trapped himself in a web of lies of his own making, trying desperately to treat Tam well, to create a future for them. He genuinely wanted a life with Tam, but he didn't know. Was it Robert that Tam liked? Or was it him? He even thought about getting Tam pregnant. Maybe then, with a child, he could solidify his place in Tam's life. That was his only chance of winning. On the day of the wedding, part of him wanted to reveal everything, but another part was terrified to let the truth come out. He had imagined it all. When the truth was exposed, he would be gentle and tell everyone, tell Tam, I love him. I love him so much. But when Robert found out Tam had scheduled an abortion, he went mad. He lunged forward, grabbed Garrett by the throat, and roared, "Who gave you permission to touch him?" Robert had never lost control like that before. In that moment, Garrett thought, Robert must love him too. The two of them really were just pathetic. Garrett wanted to tell Tam, yes, he had lied about many things, but the one thing that had always been true was that he loved him. And yet, when the words reached his lips, he couldn't say them. They stuck there, unspoken. He thought, forget it. This love, hidden in darkness, was better left unsaid. He didn't want to discuss Tam any further. From now on, Tam's life should be one of wide roads and open skies. He deserved to walk toward the light, and on that path, there was no place for him.